President Donald Trump has made it clear that the United States wants Greenland. He recently said that we need Greenland from a national security point of view, adding that it is not a question of whether we can do without it. We cannot. Trump appointed a special envoy to lead the effort, drawing sharp criticism from Denmark and from Greenland. So why is Trump so obsessed with this vast Arctic territory? Greenland is strategic for the United States military. The island sits only 1,200 miles from the east coast of the United States. The shortest route from Europe to North America runs directly through Greenland. During the Cold War, the United States had a significant presence in Greenland because Soviet submarines would come down through the gap between the United Kingdom, Iceland, and Greenland, threatening the east coast. Today, the United States operates a space base in Greenland that handles very sensitive space issues affecting homeland security. If Greenland ever fell under the influence of a foreign adversary, it would pose a direct threat to the American homeland. The United States military already has a permanent presence at an air base in northwest Greenland. In 1951, the United States and Denmark made an agreement giving the United States the right to move freely and to construct military bases on the island. The United States now wants to expand its existing military presence, to place radars watching waters used by Russian Navy vessels and nuclear submarines. Trump has claimed that Greenland is covered with Russian and Chinese ships. The Arctic is becoming increasingly militarized, with NATO states, China, and Russia all expanding activity there. The changing climate is making Greenland even more strategically important. The Northwest Passage is opening up due to warming temperatures. This will lead to significantly more international trade going through those sea lanes. What happens in Greenland will have ripple effects all over the world as commercial traffic increases through the Arctic. Beyond military strategy, Greenland is rich in minerals, oil, and natural gas. Geological estimates suggest the island is sitting on extraordinary mineral wealth. One reserve alone has been valued at around $11 billion. These resources include rare earth minerals essential for modern technology and defense applications. However, the Greenland government currently does not want those resources touched, especially where uranium is mixed in with the rare earths. The argument from those pushing for United States involvement is that without American help, those resources will remain trapped underground. The question being posed to Greenlanders is this: do you want minerals extracted in a respectful, environmentally conscious way by the United States? Or do you want the Chinese to exploit the population for their own purposes as they have done in Africa and the Pacific? Supporters frame this as a binary choice. Legally, Greenland is a territory of Denmark, which is a NATO member. In 2009, Greenland was granted broad self-governing autonomy, including the right to declare independence from Denmark by referendum. Polls show most of Greenland's 57,000 inhabitants back independence. But many fear a hasty move for independence could expose the island to outside influence. An island of 56,000 people will need some way to keep out what are described as bad actors like China and Russia. The proposed solution is a closer relationship with Washington. Trump offered to buy the island during his first presidential term. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen called the idea absurd. In late 2025, Trump named Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry as a special envoy to Greenland. Landry publicly backs the idea of the island becoming part of the United States. In a joint statement pushing back on Trump, Frederiksen and Greenland's Prime Minister Mute Egede said, "Greenland belongs to Greenlanders." They said you cannot annex another country, not even with an argument about international security. The Trump administration has suggested several possible arrangements. One option is for Greenland to become a territory like Puerto Rico or the Virgin Islands, which were purchased from Denmark in 1917. Under that model, there would be local self-government, with the United States managing foreign and defense policy. Another option is a compact of free association, similar to what the United States has with islands in the Pacific. Under this arrangement, Greenland would be an independent sovereign state with a vote in the United Nations, but the United States would guarantee its defense and support it economically. Denmark has finally started getting serious about Arctic defense. Denmark announced it would invest another $1 billion in defense for the Arctic region. For decades, Denmark had not prioritized Arctic defense. The long-term concern is what happens when Greenlanders achieve independence. Will they still want their former colonial power to have a close defense relationship? Many believe Greenlanders will be looking for new security arrangements other than with Copenhagen. The United States wants to ensure that the new security partner is Washington rather than Beijing or Moscow. Trump's approach has been characterized as bombastic and bullying by critics. He has failed to rule out economic or military coercion. But supporters argue that Trump's unique way of speaking has gotten the entire world focused on the strategic significance of Greenland. No other American president could have done that. Behind the scenes, conversations are reportedly ongoing between the United States government and both Greenland and Denmark. Denmark has already reacted by expanding its defense footprint. Some analysts believe that by the end of Trump's term, there could be a framework for a longer-term, closer tie with Greenland. The people of Greenland have made their position clear. They want sovereignty and self-determination respected. Many Greenlanders are saying, "Leave us alone, stop talking about us like we do not count." But supporters of closer United States ties argue that a small developing nation of 56,000 people will have limited options on the global stage. They will need a partner to help them grow, develop, tap their natural resources, and have the opportunities they deserve. The question is whether that partner should be the United States, China, or Russia. The United States argues it has shown over many years that it is the partner of choice for developing states because it respects sovereignty and self-determination. The concern is that if the United States does not have a closer relationship with Greenland, China and Russia will. Small, developing states around the world find themselves in the crosshairs of the Chinese Communist Party. Only the United States, according to this argument, has the ability to protect the interests of small nations while respecting their independence. This entire situation reflects the Monroe Doctrine, United States policy going back 200 years. If an adversary power gains strategic control in the Western Hemisphere, the United States does not take any option off the table. Trump is simply reiterating long-standing policy. Examples from all over the world suggest that China tries to take away sovereignty for strategic and economic purposes. So, where does this leave Greenland? The island of 57,000 people sits at the center of a geopolitical struggle between the United States, China, and Russia. It holds extraordinary mineral wealth that could transform its economy. It occupies one of the most strategically important locations on Earth, and it wants independence from Denmark while maintaining sovereignty and avoiding becoming a pawn in great power competition. The coming years will determine whether Greenland charts its own course, forms a closer partnership with the United States, or finds itself drawn into the orbit of other powers. What is certain is that Trump has succeeded in making Greenland a central issue in global strategic thinking.